Oh, my name's Fox Knight, so they can Ambit Fox, and I love Lilo and Stitch. And because here's the whole thing, okay, I'll say this right now, I have not seen the live action one yet. I'm probably going to be seeing it with family because I am a big Lilo and Stitch fan. Though, mind you, if my family wasn't going to go see it, I probably wouldn't go see it. I would recommend if you want to see it through third-party means if you can. Eventually, it'll be on some streaming platforms, whether Disney likes it or not. So, but in any case, like the streaming service I'm watching this on, I'm pretty sure Disney is not getting a cent out of. In any case, so anyways, basically how this all came about is, I've heard bad things about, a certain scientist, evil scientist, and I was like, all right, well, I just watched a review of Cinema Wins on Lilo and Stitch, and like that movie I know so much. I'm like, and I've seen the Stitch movie so many times, as well as the other stuff. I legit was, and I think because back when this came out, Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, I did kind of like feel like, this feels like a lesser-ish movie. I don't think I liked it as much as I did, the newer ones and all that. Or like, well, not newer ones. As I did like, the original movie or Stitch movie or, Stitch the series. I don't think Leroy and Stitch came out around the time. It didn't come out when this came out, but I do know that Lilo and Stitch the series was, I believe, still happening during this time period. Actually, hold on a minute. Kind of better. It's darker, but mostly because I want you guys to be able to see the screen. But, Lilo and I didn't. This was a movie where I was like, I don't. Oh, that's not it. Let's see if I can make that brighter now. All right. So this wasn't a movie that I really watched all that much. I didn't watch this as many repeats as I did the original or the animated series and all that stuff. My hair's a mess. So, and the thing is, like, if you watch this definitely feels like one of those like direct-to-video sequels, which I think it might have been. Like, it's like the thing of like the animation I don't think is as good as the original one. You have some things like Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride in the beginning of this, but it is like it is like almost like a side story in between, the original. It's a side story that kind of happens after the original series kind of thing. Like Fox and Adam kind of had something like that, even though it was like more of an in-between at some points, but like it was at that time where Disney was doing like these like kind of cheaper-ish sequels. That being said, I watched this, I'm like, God, I love this so much. And especially because I feel like this movie, especially now with like, and I'm saying like, whatever, but like people who have, let's say autism or something along the lines where it's something in them that they can't control and they feel like a burden onto others. This one, I feel like this movie I really do feel like is like almost tailored to that, because there's so many heartbreaking things where, if you don't know this is Stitch at the very beginning of the movie has a dream of him becoming 626 again. And pretty much destroying Hawaii, and it looks like possibly, let's say, taking out Lilo. Like hurting Lilo and all that stuff. So, like, he's scared of that. Lilo, told him not to worry about it. But then he actually, starts glitching. His eyes go green, and it seems like his destructive nature starts coming out. And while this is all going on, there is a hula competition that Lilo wants to win because her mother actually won it at the same age, like 7 years old, and she wants to win this hula competition. Myrtle's an asshole, which is also really funny because in this movie, when Myrtle does her hula, which they all have to make their own, when Myrtle makes her hula, she talks about her dad, Carl, And it's really funny they bring her up because there's literally a joke in the Stitch series where they bring up that Myrtle's dad isn't there, and to the point where the friends don't even know she had a dad, which is just like, but he was in the second Stitch movie. So I can only imagine there was either a very nasty divorce between this and that then, or I don't know. Also, I believe, if I'm getting this right, because David says that he's only been dating Nani for 3 weeks. So this is all happening 3 weeks after the original movie, as far as I can tell. So, Stitch. So yeah, but anyways, so Lilo's trying to find inspiration for her hula, trying to find go all the places that Elvis was at for inspiration, but every time they go to a certain place, Stitch starts glitching. And mind you, like, as soon as Stitch started glitching in the house during family night, which is really funny because Nani's like, fun! Like, we're having family fun night. Nani is definitely trying to bring her family together, which also it's really good because I'm jumping around, but there's a point where Lilo says, I'm going to win the competition. I want to win the competition. And Myrtle says, you're a stinky dancer. You'll never be like your mom, which I love that scene, which what am I talking about it? I could put all this on a little caption thing, but one, I don't want to edit that. And two, that would actually probably get me hit harder with Disney. And Disney's kind of jerks right now. Where the hell did I put that remote? Right here.
Take a picture of me when I win the competition. How do you know you're gonna win? I think it's pretty well known that I'm the best dancer in the 7-year-old division. I don't know. I think maybe I can win. Hello? You're a stinky dancer, and anything that you come up with is gonna be stinky.
I love Stitch holding her back.
You'll never be like your mom. Never.
I love Stitch letting her go. I love them so much. In any case, so they have family fun night where they're, eating snacks, which is really fun too, because at one point, Nani tries to make it as like fun as possible, like have specific snacks, like alien eye dumplings, where Pleatley Big's like, is this some kind of sick joke? What kind of sick joke is this? Which is great. But also, one other thing, because right after this scene, just the show, like, how much, like, Lilo's teacher comes by, Nani invites him in, Jumba and Pleatley are, doing their thing. Pleatley's doing his earth studies, Jumba's doing some kind of experiment. And then I love this right here. Just to show, because, again, a certain live-action movie kind of butchered this guy, at least from what I hear. Maybe I'll be completely different. This is one Disney movie I kind of want. I've been trying to avoid reviewing certain Disney movies. This one I kind of want to review just so I could, if I can, just tear the shit out of it. Assuming it's bad. Which, so far, it sounded like it is. Anyways. It's right here. See, and here's the thing. I feel like in a lesser movie, the two aliens would think trouble and go like, we're gonna get our blasters ready. But no, you know what these two do? They get...
She's going way down. No more pro wrestling for you. Who is she? Who is she? Wow. Hey, here's our precious little angel. Must be the victim of a terrible misunderstanding.
They are such the perfect aunt and uncle. I love these two to hell. And back. And also, apparently they didn't give him his accent in the new movie, which, honestly, if you didn't want to get the same voice actor, you could have just gotten the guy who plays Red Guardian and is the Stranger Things dad. You could have got him to just do the Red Guardian voice for him. Like, you could, like, legitimately, that probably would be perfect casting if you're not going to get the original voice actor. I mean, whatever. But yeah, so pretty much, also there's all sides where David trying to get with Nani, thinking he's not being a good boyfriend, and Bleakley trying to make her jealous. So Lilo tries to find out her hula to make her mom proud. Stitch tries to help, but eventually it doesn't really work out. And then family game night, Stitch starts glitching. Which I like. Again, like the things about Stitch glitching. One, it's like obviously reactivating his like evil tendencies, quote unquote, his destructive tendencies. But also, like, one thing I love about it is that he like sometimes feels it, and like he doesn't understand it fully, but he's even like, "Oh no, the badness is coming out!" Like trying to fight it, and like just failing because he can't, like, it's something out of his control, which I feel, again, like there's, and like he feels like a burden, he feels like he's going evil, like at one point he's like helping ladies across the street when they don't want to try to bring up his goodness levels. He feels bad every time he destroys something on accident because he has no control at all over it. Jumba, even like, and Jumba tries to like even do it, like he probably should have told them, but also I feel like he's in a state right now of like, one, they don't want to mess with Nani, who's already stressed the hell out, but also he believes he could, he doesn't want to burden everyone else. He thinks he can do it and by himself, which he doesn't. Like, he eventually, he kind of even fails at it where he needs Bleakley to help him. And then, like, they even bring up, like, when Stitch was first created. And again, because here's another thing, because people are going to say, like, well, Jumba became good, during the first movies. And he wasn't good in the very beginning of it. I would say, in a legal standpoint, Jumba is still not good. Jumba is still a evil, quote-unquote, mad scientist. Like, if you even think about it, Leroy and Stitch, which is the furthest in the timeline, he was already deciding, yeah, I'm gonna go back to making genetic evil experiments, like, immediately. Because Jumba's, I think, and that's, which is funny because I would say this is something in my family, that runs in my family, they're freaking criminals. But not in the sense of, like, being, well, one of them I know very much is just an evil piece of shit. But, he's a criminal. He is a quote-unquote evil genius. But he still is like a person. And even, he still cares about his kids and his family. Like, look at this. Like, look at this when when he was energizing Stitch's cell so like he's okay, and he gets arrested. See, it's not... See, like, even there, he's worried for Stitch's health. And, like, what he doesn't know what'll happen to him. He doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to help him. And, like, he was scared. He was scared of worried about, like, what's going to happen to Stitch because he doesn't know. Also, eventually, like, going through, Lilo finds, eventually is quote-unquote led by the spirit of Elvis to, these two guys at a gas station playing a song about, it's not Tahiti. Let's see. Hikiaka. Hikiaka, a goddess Hikiaka, who friend, but I feel like more it's in love, but for this, obviously, it's friends because it's supposed to signify Lilo and Stitch instead of,
Hey, that's right, Lilo. That's a great story. Friendship, jealousy, death by lava. Do you know what this?
Pretty much, if man, let me see, what was it? I'm trying to remember the name. His name, Fuzzball, Fat Tourists, Someday, Chicken. Which also I do love the part where a chicken walks by them at one point and Lilo goes, Elvis is telling us to do a hula about a chicken! And Stitch just goes, no, he's not. Lokial, I remember correctly. Lokial is the human mortal. Which, fun fact, if there's ever a goddess who then falls in love with a mortal, it's gonna end badly for the mortal, usually. Like, just for example, in Puerto Rico, there is if you don't know, we're going off topic, but we'll get to it. In Puerto Rico, there is a frog known as the coqui. That is a frog that is only in Puerto Rico. Apparently, it was also taken to Hawaii, and the Hawaiians hate it. But it was really found in Puerto Rico, and can only live in Puerto Rico, and maybe lives in Hawaii now. I'm not entirely sure on that. But, so the coqui lives there. And there's a legend around the coqui, where a goddess and a mortal, which I read this, as soon as I read a goddess and a mortal, I'm like, oh no, the mortal's fucked. And he was. So the goddess and the mortal fall in love, and I know, we'll get back to this. The goddess and the mortal fall in love, and I believe there was another god, and he was jealous of the mortal. He was jealous of the mortal because I think he loved the goddess, and so what that god did was come down, grab the mortal, and disappear with him. The mortal's name being Coqui. So the goddess looked everywhere, calling out his name, Coqui, Coqui, and eventually creating the frogs, and they were also calling out his name, Coqui, to then try to find her love. And to this day, every night you will hear this call from the frogs, and it's supposed to be of the goddess, calling out, trying to find Coqui. It's like that, yeah. So, I should do an animated legends of that, like OSPs. But anyways, so the legend of Coqui. Kind of a similar take on this, except in this one, the goddess and the god Pele, which is another goddess. Well, she's a Kapua, I believe it is, actually. Anyways, you know Disney. She took Lokial, threw him into a volcano, and pretty much the other goddess, finds him dead and cries tears to the heavens, asking to bring him back, and eventually, with her love, does bring her back, showing love can even defeat death. Which, I love that. And it obviously, it's obvious setup for what's going to happen next. In either case, Lilo, Pleakley has to keep David and Nani entertained pretty much until Jumba can make the chamber to heal. Stitch tries to show his goodness level, even though it starts kind of messing him up. And I will say too, like, from a standpoint of not knowing what Stitch is, or just thinking he's just a dog, this must be terrifying for these little girls and this dude. Especially, like, imagine you have a chair trying to keep a dog away, and the dog does this. Jesus. Anyways, Lilo starts blaming Stitch because she doesn't really know and she's 7 years old. Nani says maybe you should be slightly patient with him. Stitch tries to made good enough to help everyone. Which also, this scene is great. Little girl's sandcastle falls down. And the dude makes a freaking... I love that. Lilo tries to do the hula by herself. Stitch tries to show that he's good. Doesn't turn out well. Also, I do love this scene where, like, first it's like, you leave, fine, I'm leaving, no, I'm leaving. Like, they are perfect sibling energy. Which, technically speaking, if Jumba and Pleakley are Lilo's aunt and uncle now, that does technically mean Stitch is her cousin. Which is also really funny because then the whole thing is like the Stitch show is about Stitch finding his cousins. Even though I would say they're more siblings, but whatever. I love this joke. Cause he's holding it like until you remember that Stitch is stupid strong, like he does only need his claw to keep the door closed to keep her out. Her calling him a trog. Also called her a fluff ball. But also, I like, rewatching this, there's so many scenes where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. Like, I always love the, you're touching me! I'm not touching you! It's free air! I've done that to my siblings.
Free air.
I love the lick. Like, it goes from not touching to like, I'm just gonna straight lick you. Damn! And I see that thing too. Like Stitch is trying to say like it's not his fault. Like obviously Lilo's 7. She's 7 years old. Don't hold this against her. But like yeah, like from her perspective, Stitch is just doing this on purpose. And it turned out no, it's him trying to hold back. Which again, whether it be someone with like mental health issues or on the spectrum, whatever, stuff like that. Like, in the thing, too, is that it's really cool is, in the beginning, where Lilo tries to show that Stitch is good, she throws that antique Elvis lamp, her favorite book out the window. She jumps off the thing, because she fully trusts Stitch. Like, she fully trusts him. And I love that. Obviously, this is, like, after so much of, like, her thinking, like, oh my god, Stitch is doing this on purpose. And again, she's 7. But, yeah, like, and then, again, another thing for Jumba's character as a whole, after they make the chamber to re-energize his cells.
Oh, can I switch it on, please? No. That is extremely delicate machine. It takes you to your mind. Thanks to me, crisis is over.
Also, Jumbo didn't make the first Energizer one. He got off of a catalog. But watch. After the thing explodes, look how devastated Jumba is. Because that's the thing. Again, he's an evil genius. He is a criminal. But on that same note, his experiments are still his family. And honestly, if there was a way, if they ever did a Stitch 3, like a Lilo and Stitch 3 movie, or just like a continuation afterward, it legit would be a cool thing if they delved more into Jumba's past. Because I do feel like there's definitely a story there of like, why exactly does he create all of these experiments? And mind you, like every time he creates an experiment, as far as I'm aware, he's always still proud of them. Like whether it be his own thing or just the creatures themselves, he's always proud of his experiments. They are his kids. he's always proud of them. He's always happy to even see when they become destructive, or even when they eventually become good. Eventually he kind of goes, but eventually he even comes around to that, accepting them for who they are. There's a lot of good shit in Lilo and Stitch that I'm hearing that is not in the live action, is what I'm trying to say here. Because look at this. Look how devastated he is.
Let's get it's over.
Like, at that point, this is a man who knows his child is going to die, and the last bit of thing he could do to save that child just literally blew up, and he can't fix it.
I can't build a fusion chamber.
Sure you can. Just like you built the first one.
I didn't build first one. I ordered it from catalog.
The catalog?
No, there is no hope for my creation. Jumba has failed family.
Look at that. That is Jumba Jukiva. That is Stitch's father. Lilo's uncle. Also, I do like this scene where they both say like how their mom would be proud of each of them. Stitch is sad, and he pretty much decides after saying bye to Lilo that he's gonna go. That he's pretty much gonna go to. That he's just gonna go to an asteroid, pretty much to die, even though he doesn't know he's going to die. But Lilo has to give up on the hula competition to go find Stitch. They all try to find Stitch. Eventually, Stitch flies off, and also I'll say this right now: this alien spacecraft is probably one of the best retcon of continuing a retcon there is, because originally it was a 747 that they were going to fly through the city, through downtown Hawaii, and mind you, this movie came out in 2001, so you can guess why that didn't happen. But they went with it, they kept going with it, and now it's a spaceship, and that spaceship, you know, it's a major part of like the of Lilo and Stitch story, which that's a cool way to do a retcon to keep it going. That's nice. Anyways, Stitch is gonna leave. They use Pleakley's phone to call it. Plane crashes after Stitch glitches, and then we pretty much get kind of a Lilo gets into the pod. And people are gonna roll their eyes. I don't care. I like this part. Pretty much puts in the chamber, re-energize. It seems to re-energize, but doesn't seem to work. It seems like his power is completely drained, even though you see a little bit of the energy left in the thing. Which you could wonder is if it's either the chamber or it's not. But even though Jumba does say, like, completely asks, because eventually Lilo's holding Stitch, saying how much they need. How much... Like, look at this. It's making me tear up. Dude's holding his friggin' dying child in his hand. His dead child in his hands.
No!
Lilo, there's nothing you can do. He's gone.
Oh, honey, come here.
No! Stitch, I'm so sorry. I kept saying how I needed you. But you needed me more.
If anything, I feel honestly like this movie is, again, I haven't seen the live action one yet, which I'll do a review on that when I do. I feel like this movie specifically is the antithesis to the live action movie. Lilo and Stitch 2 is the antithesis, I'm pretty sure I'm saying the word right, to the live action movie. Where where Lilo, where was it? Apparently Nani tries to go to like college for marine life, even though Hawaii has one of the best colleges for studying marine life. And pretty much, I just heard bad things, but pretty much like kind of putting family aside that would need her so that way she could do that. Where in this, Lilo kind of did that with the hula thing, but then realizes, no, I have to stop this because I have to save my family.
You're my Ohana, Stitch. And I'll always love you.
Also, he's wearing a Maui necklace. Lilo's crying over Stitch. Everyone's solemn and sad. And then Stitch's energy starts coming back. Which, was it that they actually did get to him in time? He just needed to recharge for a second? Or is it just, Lilo's parents kicking that blue fuzzball out of heaven? You're like, nah, you need to get back down there. She needs you.
Stitch, not bad. Stitch,
Fluffy!
but how is it possible? It's not.
They're all happy. Stitch is alive. Even though the competition is over, they all do a family dance together. And also, I will say, too, what I really love is that, like, obviously there was going to be comparisons between the legend and this story of, like, love conquering death and all that stuff. So you kind of set up that, yeah, Stitch was going to come back to life via that. Also, then there's a whole animated series after it. But, how many times have an animated series and the sequels not compatible? But honestly, I think this is still good because it's still 3 weeks. It is like, again, 3 weeks after the original movie. So that's why, like, they haven't installed the elevator yet into Lilo's, Lilo Stitch's room and all this other stuff. Anyways. But yeah, but like also I do like too, like where the original myth, it's the goddess and the mortal. In, kind of a flip, Lilo in the status of the goddess is mortal, where Stitch is kind of the quote unquote immortal, kind of godlike creature. And, it's a good little flip. I like that. It's cool. But yeah, they're all happy. They're all together again, and they have a great life and fun things. Also, I need to watch the Stitch anime specifically because there's an episode I want to watch where because in the English dub it's like Lilo gets a boyfriend and supposedly doesn't want, and not that he doesn't want Stitch, but I think like Stitch kind of gets jealous, and then Stitch, Bleakley, and Jumba get sucked into like a magical universe, and then they island, but eventually at some point, I guess it's still in the real world or not. I'm not entirely sure. I know Stitch finds a little girl that looks exactly like Lilo in one episode. They have a whole adventure together, and then it turns out that that's actually, maybe I'll review that episode at some point. But yeah, this is great. I like this a lot. Also, shame also on the animes, on the two animes, because apparently they switched out Lilo. The reason why they did that is because in those places, people of darker skin tone don't do so well sometimes. As in, like, rating wise. So that's why they switched out Lilo and they mostly focus on Stitch instead of with Lilo, which I'm just like, you shouldn't do that, Disney. You shouldn't do that if Lilo and Stitch are kind of a package deal, but again, that one episode, I kind of do feel like it was kind of cool. At least hearing the setup and all anything from it. But anyways. That's Lilo and Stitch 2, the movie. Another way of showing of Ohana, showing these all together. And again, it's a fun little story. Also Myrtle talking about like trying to sell stuff through her hula for her dad's place, and it's like these hula skirts of natural colors, and like she's wearing a blue hula skirt. I'm like, I don't think blue leaves are natural, but okay. Jones will be hearing Lilo's in trouble, running to her rescue, running to the niece's rescue. Bleakly telling his mom, "I'll talk to you someday." Like, Leo saying she wants to pound Myrtle. Nani saying Lilo needs to be patient with him. Trog. Yeah, but anyways, I feel like this is a movie now that like could 100% have so many like meanings now for different things, whether someone like whether it be someone with mental health issues or someone else needing to learn to be patient with them, and there's a lot of things and like stuff about about their family, about being together and all that stuff. And again, just showing like how much someone like Jumba and Stitch are family with Lilo. Like, it's not just Lilo and Stitch, even though that is the title of it. It's Lilo, Stitch, Nani, Pleakley, everyone. All of them are family with each other. And apparently Disney wants to make a sequel to the Lilo and Stitch live action movie. How, you idiots? You literally cut like a giant chunk of their family off. And like, I legit kind of just want to know what happens in the live action one, because if what I'm hearing is right about Jumba, does Lilo still have her Aunt Pleakley? And like, cause if Jumba's, I don't know. And they want to make a sequel? I honestly do feel like, because they didn't get a native Hawaiian actor to play Nani in the live action movie. I'm gonna end this video soon, but they got a non-native one, which is well, she was born there, so she's a native Hawaiian. No, she's not. You know how I know? And someone says like, well, she's actually half Asian, half whatever, like the people that live in Hawaii. No, again, because you want to know why? Markiplier. Yeah, I bet you didn't think I was going to bring him up. Markiplier is half German, half South Korean. And he was born in Honolulu. And he has, as far as I know, he has never said he was native Hawaiian. Because that's not how that works. Like, I have indigenous Puerto Rican blood. I actually do. I got ancestry tests and shit. I have a grandfather who looks straight up Native American, or did. He passed away. Actually, great grandfather. Yeah. So, yeah, in a sense, I have native blood. That girl does not have a native blood in her body. Hell, she could play Kim Possible. And they tanned the shit out of her just to make her look kind of native. God. It's really funny, too, when you see, like, the part where they have, like, the Ohana scene. I've seen that clip, and it's really funny with Nani, there, because I'm like, you look at Lilo, who's a native Hawaiian, and you see Nani, and it's like, you gotta look Lilo looking up at her, like, who the fuck are you? Like, who are you, lady? You're not Nani. In any case, Lilo and Stitch 2, really good movie. And if anything good comes out of this live action, it's that one, apparently there's big backlash against it. Great. And two, I've seen so many clips and people rediscovering Lilo and Stitch as well as the animated series and all that stuff. And maybe it'll get something good going for the animated series shows and movies and stuff like that. Hell, I talked about my unboxing. I would love more of the Cousins. Maybe Disney just needs a quick kick in the ass to get shit going. But I don't know. The movie also made a stupid amount of money. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Check out my videos. Hopefully enjoy this. I stream Mondays and Fridays, 4:30 to 6:30ish. This is kind of when I start. Anyways, but thanks for watching. Check out videos. I play Devil May Cry on Mondays, and Fridays I draw, usually. Or it's maybe Tears of the Kingdom. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, and move on. See you later. Inaina o akila, moga ini ohana. Welcome, Kosa, so come on by. Aloha, come on by. Maga maga. Ilaila o akila, moga ini ohana. Welcome, Kosa, come on by. Aloha, come on by. Aloha, come on by. My dad. Ikituki nihai, ikituki nihai, akitiki baba, akitiki baba. Kabike kashuba, kabike kashuba, kuja, chiga, miki coconut, ha awakela, olala ilhana, kabugat, na unsaso, come on by, aloha, come on by. Maga, aloha, come on by. Bye. I know I did that last one too, but I'm trying to make it better because I did screw that up more. I still screwed this up, but still.